Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone, and I'm going to try to summarize the plots of the Disney sequel films in under 10 minutes. I'm not sure if it's possible, but we're going to try. We're going to go through this whole story and just come along for the ride. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try not to swear too much, but no promises on that one. So here we go. All right, so we begin. The story opens 30 years after the Return of the Jedi has ended. So we have, of course, originally the Republic, which got corrupted and evolved into the Galactic Empire, and from the Galactic Empire we now have the First Order that just took over for the Galactic Empire. And then so from the people who opposed fascism, we got the rebels who fought the Galactic Empire, defeated the Galactic Empire, formed the New Republic, but are now still kind of under the thumb of the First Order, because that's totally how this one works. So all of that victory we got, like having the victory over the Galactic Empire meant literally nothing, because a new fascist power just rose to take its place right away. So right off the get-go, we have Kylo Ren, the evil bad guy, who's coming to try to find this special map that's going to lead you to Luke Skywalker, who's gone because he's like, fuck this shit, and just left. Wow, I'm doing so great. I'm not swearing already. And so this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. So Poe Dameron, he's important, I guess, hides a map in a droid. This droid, they're on this planet. It's not Tatooine, but really it's just Tatooine. So he hides the map in the droid and sends it off on Tatooine while he gets captured. Gee, that sounds really familiar. Where have I ever heard that before? Never mind. So Poe gets captured, gets taken onto this ship. Finn is a janitor who's also a stormtrooper who decides he doesn't want to be a stormtrooper anymore, or probably a janitor anymore either. And so he frees Poe and they go crash land on a planet together. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, and by the ranch I mean Tatooine, and by Tatooine I mean not Tatooine, but actually totally Tatooine, BB-8 happens to find Rey, who is poor, and nobody. So poor Rey Nobody gets this droid thing, but she's really good at fighting people because, she's been poor all her life, and when you're a poor woman, people pick on you, and so you have to defend yourself. So she, in the process of finding this droid, she now is defending herself, and then Finn finds her because, they crash. So Finn and Poe crash land on not Tatooine, and Finn is presumed dead because he's just not anywhere there. So Poe is presumed dead. So Finn just toodles off and happens to bump into Rey, who hits him with a stick, and then they're friends. And so then they run away from stormtroopers because torturing Poe, because Kylo Ren is just forcing all over just doing force stuff, just force raging everywhere, and force rages the location of the droid out of Poe. And so he's on this planet now to get Rey and the droid and whoever, just mostly the droid. And so they have to escape together, and Finn and Rey. So they do it by stealing the Millennium Falcon, and they find a space, and they're captured by Han and Chewie, who are having this fun little run-in with some gangsters like they do, like Han and Chewie do, like just how we saw them at the beginning of A New Hope. So just like that, they're running into gangsters again, and they beat them up, and then Poe and Finn, Rey and Finn happen, and all these freaking monosyllabic weirdo names. So Rey and Finn happen, and they're like, oh my god, you're Han Solo! Because we recognize you, because apparently, since we toppled the Galactic Empire, they made a great documentary that they showed to kids everywhere, and in that documentary, somehow, the Millennium Falcon was not included, because we definitely did not recognize that ship when we stole it. So they fly off together in the Millennium Falcon, because Rey really just wants to get back to her home, because her parents abandoned her, and she's hoping they're going to come back one day, even though they haven't come back, and it's been like, I don't know, at least 20 years. But that's okay, because Han Solo, who's grizzled and doesn't want anything to do with anybody, totally can be a surrogate father figure for her, and it's great because she's a really amazing pilot for no reason, having literally never left her planet before. So they're going to be best friends, and it's going to be awesome. So they go to Not Yavin 4, where they meet Maz Pinata, who for some reason has Anakin's lightsaber. It's really unclear as to why she has that, but it's okay because it's calling to Rey, who's nobody, by the way, and so she can have it, because that makes sense. I mean, she is on this mission to go find Luke, and she's clearly very qualified to do it, because no reason. And then Kylo Ren shows up like he does, and the Resistance also shows up, led by Princess Leia, because she's always leading resistances and rebellions and whatnot. She's just such a rebel. She's such a bad girl. It's so good. So they start fighting, and Rey has to get captured by Kylo Ren is what he has to do, really. We get to watch Finn do some fighting, and then Finn, who wants to just join the Resistance. I think he wants to join the Resistance, and Rey's like, I want to go home. So they all end up, and then Han and Leia get reunited, and it's delightful, but, Rey gets stolen onto the Starkiller base, which is just the Death Star but bigger with trees on it. So it's like the Death Star if the Death Star fucked Hoth. That's happening, and they blow up a planet to make a demonstration of their power because it's super cool. So they're blowing a bunch of planets up because that's fun. Oh, Supreme Leader Snoke is this ugly guy, basically think Palpatine. And so Rey just starts jizzing Force all over the place and escapes because Kylo Ren tries to break into her mind, but then she breaks back into his, and she jizzes Force everywhere and escapes. And Han and Finn and Poe maybe, and Chewbacca. I can't remember if Poe is there anymore or not. Maybe not. I don't think so. I think it's just whatever. They all go to infiltrate the Starkiller base together and plant explosives and blow the thingy up. And hooray, it's gonna work, except that Han has to confront, oh my god, Kylo Ren, because Han's his father, because we've never seen that moment before, or them two having this I'm your father moment on a bridge together, even though we already knew that he was his father, because why not just tell people these things ahead of time? So the Kylo Ren kills Han. It's great. Chewie shoots him. They blow up the Starkiller base. Everyone's escaping except for Han because he's dead. And Kylo Ren is going to go kill Rey and Finn, even though he's all ouchy. And Finn's like, I'll defend you because I'm a man who has to stick up for a woman's honor, and gets kind of the crap beaten out of him. And so then Rey fights him and is super good at lightsaber fighting for no role. She's kind of bad at it at first, and then she downloads the Force just like Neo from the Matrix downloads Kung Fu. I know lightsaber fighting. And now she's really good at it and kind of wins this fight and totally wins this fight. Like, jacks up Kylo Ren and goes off to go find Luke, and they pick up Finn before the thingy blows up, who's all still unconscious and boo-booed, and so she flies off to Achu, which is the planet that Luke is hiding on because allergies, I don't know, and offers him the lightsaber, and the end of the movie. So open The Last Jedi, the next movie, which starts 5 minutes later, and we have to evacuate this also not Yavin 4, that I don't even, honestly, to be perfectly honest, this place where the Resistance base is on, I literally don't remember anything about it or what it looks like, but they're evacuating it because the First Order, in spite of having their massive base just blown up, and their leaders one of their leaders is kind of jacked up, and the other one's still needs a nose because he's Voldemort, and the other one suddenly turned into a pansy between last movie and this movie, by the way. Like, this Hux was this like formidable kind of badass. I mean, I don't know, quite badass, but definitely a jackass, definitely this big jerk character, who over the course of 5 minutes has become a total pansy, maybe because he watched the Starkiller base blow up, I don't know, and is being subjected to Yo Mama jokes from Poe right at the beginning of the movie, because that's normal. So Poe does toxic masculinity, and because of the heroism of one-page Tico, and science that doesn't work in space, and gravity that does work in space, they blow up a big Star Destroyer too, which still means nothing, because apparently blowing the Starkiller base in a giant Star Destroyer really doesn't cripple the First Order a little bit at all. They don't even lose a stride. They don't even lose a step. They don't even need a minute to like reconnect. But that happens, and it's fine. And so we're good. We're back, and Finn just wakes up from being stuck in a bacta tank or whatever, and he's just walking around with water squirting out of him because that's normal, and finds out that Rey's all tootled off to go be a Jedi or something, and so he wants to just fuck off because he's a coward, because we know that he's a coward, because we learned that at some point, and so he's gonna go escape, but then Rose Tico, the sister of Paige who just died, recognizes him because he got famous yesterday from the stuff he did yesterday, but she totally recognizes him, and he's a hero, but then she realizes he's trying to escape, so she beats him up, and because that's how we express love in this universe, and Poe gets yelled at for being a toxic man, and Leia gets shot into space, and Admiral Akbar just unceremoniously dies, but Leia Mary Poppins herself back in because she can use the Force even when she's unconscious, so that's really sad, but the last thing she did was demote Poe, so he can go fuck himself, and purple hair is going to take charge, because women with purple hair should always be trusted, but Poe can't just sit still, because woman in purple hair, in spite of having to be trusted, doesn't trust anybody else and won't tell anybody that she has a plan, and is just like, sit tight, bitches, while we ensue the slowest space chase in all of history. So their ship can apparently go just faster than the Star Destroyer, or stay just ahead of it, but only for the next like 8 hours or something, and then it'll run out of fuel, and that sucks, and they can't jump through hyperspace because they can now track you through hyperspace, because that's a thing. So Poe devises this great plan where people are they get some magic from Maz Pinata, we remember her from the last one, to go find the code breaker, who's gonna help break onto a ship and disable the tracker, I think, is sort of the idea. So Finn and Rose have to go off on this mission because Poe is busy being bad and a toxic man, and so they have to go off on this mission to Las Vegas in space, to Space Vegas, to find this codebreaker guy. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, and by the ranch I mean Achu, the planet you go to when you have allergies, that's also full of porgs, which are like delicious little puffin seagull things that nobody eats for some reason. And Chewie just gets to be there as a prop and not probably mourn the loss of his best friend, because who cares? He's just dead, whatever. So Luke unceremoniously tosses the lightsaber over his shoulder, explains how he's a bad man and doesn't like the Jedi, and Rey is like, please be my new surrogate father figure because I totally lost my last one. But turns out that Rey is a Horcrux for Kylo Ren, or vice versa, and they have this magical connection, and they get to stare lovingly into each other's eyes across space, but they hate each other, right? Because last time they saw each other, they tried to kill each other and tortured each other. It was very romantic. We're way over 10 minutes. All right, let's try to keep it under 20. I'm doing my best. And so they start having little forced chit chats, at which point she's like, he tells her that Luke tried to kill her because that's the thing that uncles do, and she's like, oh no, that's terrible. And then she sees Kylo Ren with a shirt on, and she's like, you're kind of hot. Maybe I should go fuck you instead of try to get this new daddy, because like I can call you daddy in bed. That's totally kinky and fine, right? Yeah, great. So meanwhile, Rey, after jizzing some force on Luke to demonstrate how fucking force powerful she is, fucks off to go play with Kylo Ren's weird abs, and so now we're on Space Vegas. Sometimes we go back to the ship where Poe is, but that doesn't matter because literally it's just toxic man and purple hair yelling at each other because she's a feminist and he's not. And so Finn and Rose are off freeing the horse slaves in Space Vegas, and they find the codebreaker, but it doesn't matter because they get thrown in jail. And in jail they meet not Lando, who's played by Benicio del Toro, and he totally can give them what they want, which is normal. So they break out, free the slave space horses, who probably all get rounded up and shot at the end of the scene, and escape with the magical codes. And so Rey goes to see Kylo Ren, and they just rewrote the you will turn or die thing from Return of the Jedi with Vader when he and Luke are going to see the Emperor. We just literally took the words and just did that scene over again. And so they get to the throne room, which is the same entrance into the throne room as before. But this time magically, we don't have to wait till the end of the scene for Kylo Ren to do the right thing and protect Rey, but he's not really doing it. He just wants to go. We're gonna bounce back to Empire Strikes Back here for a second so we can do the like come rule the galaxy with me as father and son, but in this case is fuck buddies. I don't know. And so then we have the worst choreographed fight scene probably in movie history, which is them fighting off the guards, and the guards doing really nice things like throwing their weapons away to get killed. If you want to know a little bit more about that, I have a very in-depth analysis of that you can totally check out. It's super fun. And then so they defeat that, and it's this really magical moment of them just jizzing force everywhere together, which is like sex, I guess. And then he wants her to come away with him, and she's like, nah, bitch, I'm a good guy. And she's like, but I'm a bad guy. And then he's like, but you're also nobody. Your parents are nobody, because we knew that because she's Rey Nobody. So then she's like, bye, and just leaves because nobody cares about Kylo Ren. So that's fine because he's going to go kill the Resistance. It's totally fine. So they break onto the ship, and they're able to deactivate the hyperdrive thingy, which means literally nothing because I don't remember why it doesn't mean anything, but it doesn't do anything useful or helpful because we're all trying to escape now to Not Hoth, which is a planet made of salt. And Purple Hair is like, this was the plan all along, ha ha ha. But because now Poe knows the plan, now the Codebreaker knows the plan, and he sells them out to the Empire because he's a bad guy. I don't know, because he's just a plot device that never comes back again. So then they go fuck off to Crate and have a nice like red earth moment because visual aesthetics or something, and then they're all gonna die. So Finn tries to sacrifice himself, or maybe before that Luke's force ghost shows up. Well, we don't know that. Luke just shows up. He's force projecting himself. Spoilers. And Kylo Ren's like, oh, why can't I kill you? Enter no lightsaber fight whatsoever. Finds out he's a hologram. It's so sad. And then now we're gonna kill all of them. And so Finn's gonna go and sacrifice himself, and then Rose stops him from doing that because that great iconic line from that movie about not fighting what you hate but saving what you love, as if we can't do both, and then kisses him and then dies. Passes out. And so everyone's running back through these caves, and they're stuck, and oh my god, they're trapped. And then so Rey comes to jizz some force all over the place, because she's been like, Kylo, I don't love you anymore. So she goes to help her friends and then lifts rocks, because, that's what we do with the force. It's the 90% of what the force is used for in all of civilized life is lifting rocks. And then the Resistance now fits on the Millennium Falcon that flies off into the distance. Okay, fast forward about 5-ish years. The Resistance is now back at full strength. How? Who cares? It's been like 5 years. Come on, they recruited more people. It's normal. And Palpatine's apparently still alive, so we get to watch whiny Kylo Ren running around. Oh, by the way, Captain Phasma, she was important or something. She died in the first one. Just kidding, she didn't, but she did die in the second one, I think for real, because we didn't see her in this one. So, Kylo Ren is running through the forest, scooping up the field mice and chopping off their heads with his lightsaber in order to find what we learn from the preamble is the Wayfinder, so he can go to Exegol, which is a planet that Palpatine lives on, and so that he can... I'm going to talk fast because this movie has so much stuff in it. I feel like the Last Jedi took like 2 seconds, and this one's like, okay, so a lot of stuff happens, because we go to Exegol, find out something about Rey, but we don't know yet. Oh my god. And it seems like Kylo Ren wants to defeat Palpatine, but then he's totally working for him, because Palpatine created the final order, because we don't need a second or third order. We had the first, we'll go right to the final one, and they're totally going to rip apart the galaxy, and it's going to be awesome! Meanwhile, back at the ranch, or another ranch, the ranch being the Millennium Falcon in this particular instance, we've replaced the dish with the circular dish again, thank God. And there's a slug now who's a mechanic, because, I don't know, R2-D2's too expensive. They can't rent him. And so there's a spy now. That's important or something. The spy has some really important information about a thing, I guess. And they get that information and get chased by TIE fighters. Hooray! Amazing chase scene. And then Poe hyperspace jumps. Oh my god! I almost forgot to tell you that one of the reasons they get to not Hoth in the last one is because Purple Hair flies her spaceship into another spaceship. The end. Bye, Purple Hair. Oh my god! The end of feminism in Star Wars. And so they do a fun thing and then get back to the planet where Rey is force training, because Leia is now a Jedi and can train her to hover, levitate, and lift rocks at the same time, but she can't connect to the Jedi because, I don't know, no fucking reason. And so they're all reunited, and it's very happy, and it's very delightful. And with their powers combined with some information they might have gotten from somewhere and the writings of Luke Skywalker, they know where they have to go to find a thing to get to the thing. So they need to find the thing to get to the thing to find the Wayfinder to go to Exegol. So they go to Piranha, which is a desert planet. It's a forbidden desert. We're never explained exactly why it's forbidden, but it is, so just go with it. So we go to this forbidden planet. It's very exciting. We meet Lando. He just conveniently is there. He takes them to the desert where they conveniently fall in a hole and find the dagger with the information on it. But Kylo Ren shows up because that's a thing that he does. And he and Rey, have their little forcey connection and whatnot. So she runs out to meet him because what she really needs to do is do a backflip over a TIE fighter and prove how amazingly force jizzy she is, and just jizzes some more force on his spaceship and blows up his spaceship. It's super exciting. Meanwhile, nobody saw her standing out in the desert, but they all saw Chewbacca, who came out to get her, so they captured Chewbacca. So then she force wrestles with Kylo Ren over the transport that has Chewbacca on it, and they blow it up with lightning. She blows it up with force lightning by accident. It's devastating. So in the name of Chewbacca, they need to get this dagger translated, and C-3PO is the only one who can read it, but he can't tell them what it says because his programming says, I can't do that. But they know this guy, Poe knows this guy who can totally who can totally rewire C-3PO so he can translate it. So now we gotta leave Piranha, we gotta go to Kimchi, which is another planet that Tits is on, and Tits, I don't remember her name, but she's got Tits, so Tits is an old friend of Poe's who conveniently shows up and wants to be friends after Rey beats up her friends, because that's how we make friends in Star Wars. We've already discussed it. It's how we show our love and make friends. We hit each other. And so Babu Frick, who's like maybe the only decent thing in this movie, rewires C-3PO, who's probably going to lose his memory forever, except maybe not if he just gets back to R2-D2, who probably has his memory stored, so it's fine. And then, oh, by the way, we'd find out Chewie is alive after all, because he must have been on the other transport. What other transport? I don't know, just go with it. And so we're going to go save him, because that's what we do. That's what friends do. And so Tits conveniently has a cheat code that gets you onto the ship that they need to get onto, so they go get onto the ship, and she doesn't kiss Poe, because we're not allowed to kiss in this movie, except for when it's gross. And so we go to rescue Chewbacca, and so that Rey and Kylo Ren can have some more force staring levelly into each other's eyes moments and little force fighty fights, because now, we learned in the last scene that they can pass objects through the force, because their force bond is so super strong, and then he confronts her, and then they run away, and somewhere in the process of this, I can't remember if it's this scene or later on, she tells, somehow, at some point, he reveals to her that she is Palpatine's granddaughter. Oh my god, she's not nobody after all. Well, her parents are nobody, but she is not nobody, so, now we fly, we fuck around, where are we? We left Kimchi, and we go blow up Kimchi with Final Order ships, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about that later because we have to go to Endor now, one of the moons of Endor where the black freed slaves are all riding space horses, and Rey can totally go get the Wayfinder on the broken Death Star that's really not that broken after all, and Kylo Ren's totally going to go after her, and Finn's totally going to go after Rey because he's in love with her, but he keeps not telling her because it's funny. And so they just all big wave surf through the storm, which they totally know how to do because, Finn's been on a spaceship his entire life and Rey's grew up in a desert, but it's fine. Just go with it. And then so she gets to force fight herself. So we have that cool dark Rey moment for the trailers, gets the Wayfinder, which Kylo Ren promptly shows up and destroys. So they have a big old fight because he broke her toy, and that's not really very nice. So she kills him, but then Leia dies at the same time, and that's just too mean to just kill him right when his mom dies. So she heals him for some reason. It's just a thing she does with no personal detriment to herself, to her person, and then just toodles off in Kylo Ren's other TIE fighter, because apparently he keeps a second one. He keeps his Wayfinder in that one, which we find out because she flies off to Achu, crash lands, and Force Ghost Luke is conveniently there to let her know his Wayfinder is in there as he catches the lightsaber. Like, don't throw that away. And everyone else is like, well, what do we do now? Apparently at some point they pack a bunch of space horses on a spaceship because it's fun for them and go back to the Not Yavin 4 where the resistance is camped out, and Leia's dead. It's sad. And but it's great because Rey is going off to Exegol because Luke told her that she should, and she toodles off to Exegol and leaves little breadcrumbs for them to find. So they're all going to have this big showdown at Exegol because Tits told Poe something about, you're not alone, and gives the power of friendship. And so they're all going to do that and bring a big armada down there to blow things up because they have to disable this one thing and then it'll be fine. But they're actually secretly, they have another thing that they can use to do the thing that they need to do to bring all the big ships up because, there's 1,001 giant Star Destroyers, all with the capacity of destroying planets, which they demonstrated by blowing up Kimchi. So we needed to disable all of these by knocking out the navigation thing that has to be on the ground for triangulation purposes, but it's fine because there's another one that's on the ship that also works, even though the whole point of it being on the ground is that it couldn't be on a ship, but it's totally fine because we really want to have space horses running across the top of a ship. So just let us have that moment and let us have Finn try to sacrifice himself again and not do anything. Hey, remember Rose? I don't. She's barely in this movie. We see Mary Brandybuck from The Lord of the Rings way more than we see her, but whatever. I'm pretty sure he has more lines too. So, space battle, and it's looking very, very hopeless because Lando went to find friends, but he hasn't shown up yet. We're all going to die. And Rey's busy facing down Palpatine, who's given her this fun little catch-22 of I can kill all your friends, or you can kill me and then you become all of the Sith, because that's how Sith suddenly work now. And it's fine because when Kylo Ren's mom died and then his dad shows up in a weird vision to be a good guy, he's suddenly oh shit, I'm a good guy now. So he's going to go save the day because he's in love with Rey too, because everyone's in love with Rey. So then he shows up and it's this cute little shot of his little TIE fighter parked next to her X-Wing, and he comes down but has to beat up the Knights of Ren, but oh my god, they're beating him up. So Rey, just before she strikes down Palpatine like she's totally going to do, force passes her lightsaber over to him because magic, and then he beats everyone up and it's super cool, and then shows up and Palpatine's like, oh my god, you guys are a dyad, because that's the thing, which explains why they're so super powerful even when they're apart. And then he sucks out all their life force but doesn't kill them, because when you suck out someone's entire life force you somehow totally rejuvenate but they don't die. And then force lightnings all of the ships down because Lando showed up to save the day, by the way, so oh my god, it's super exciting. But then Palpy can just force lightning all of the ships out of the sky, so they're crashing, oh no. And then Kylo Ren gets flung into a hole somewhere, and then Rey gets up because she's all the Jedi and kills Palpatine. Because now that she's all of the Jedi, she can totally kill him without becoming a Sith. But then she dies because he can suck out her life force and she doesn't die. But then she can totally use all the power of all the Jedi, and it definitely kills her. So then Kylo Ren, but it's fine because we're winning the space battle now. We're totally winning the space battle, and we can even rescue Finn off the ship because he's not allowed to sacrifice himself. He has no agency. He's not allowed to do things for himself. And Kylo Ren comes out of the hole and cries over Rey's body and then brings her back to life because magic, and has just enough life left in him so that they can share a really weird unearned kiss, and then he dies. Thus, with the kiss, I die, and then the day is saved and everybody wins forever and ever and ever, and we go and hug a whole bunch because that's what we do after we win, and Finn never confesses his his love to Rey, and then she goes back to Tatooine to the Lars homestead because that's a normal thing to do with her Luke's lightsaber. And oh, by the way, Leia's lightsaber that was just hanging out on Chew for some reason, and buries them both. And conveniently, there's a woman walking a camel by to be like, no one's been here for ages. Who are you? So she can say Rey and think about it for way too long. Go Rey when she says Rey who, and go Rey Skywalker. Oh, we can have the twin sun scene and the music because nostalgia. The end. So that is the entire Disney sequel trilogy in 24 minutes. Sorry, guys, I couldn't do better. I really, really tried. I did my darndest. But if you were ever wondering what happened, that's what happened. Does that sound like a great story to you? Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So just enjoy that and click on the videos and watch other stuff and subscribe to Mindless Entertainment and press the like button because that's what we do on this channel, and subscribe to LA Cheesesteak Reviews, which is my other channel, and have a great holiday and New Year. Bye. Wait, I'm supposed to say God Emperor's out.